Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name's John McDonald and today we're going to make a really simple Christmas decoration, and this is just using a simple dinner plate like this, so kind of like a serving plate. I've got some really beautiful little white roses, we've got some little hellebores, I've got kalanchoe that I have taken from a plant. So this breaks down into just lovely little pieces actually, but you can buy kalanchoe as a cut flower now as well. We've got some pine cones, some seed pods, which some have been sprayed silver and some are natural. I've got a few blingy baubles, but we're not going to use all of them. A little bit of lavender, and some of these white onions. Now I grew these in the garden this summer and they're so white and I just love them. So what I did was I took the roots off and we've just trimmed the tops and just put a little bit of decorative wire around that top piece. And I think they look quite fun. So for our base, we're going to use some chicken wire, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to add some water to our dish. So we don't need to overly fill this just now. We can always just top up a little bit towards the end. And for our chicken wire, this I just had lying around and it makes a perfect base. What you're really wanting to do is create two layers. So if you just have it coming over the top, there's no support for the stems at the bottom. You really want stems to come through and have two places where they meet. So this is our base. And the first thing we're going to do then is place our onions. And I just thought these were really fun. Now we've got three bigger ones, so we'll place them slightly opposing each other is probably the better way to do it. And I just want to, yeah, that's a little bit interesting. We just want to do these so that they're like a little highlight within our design, and they create a little bit of a base for it. Now that one's got a little bit of a mark, so we can put it a little bit more on its side. But you can see straight away we've got a little bit of interest with having the onions. And then the next thing I think we want to pop in is probably our cones. So the cones, just a Christmas classic really, you can't go wrong with cones. And then we can actually just place our lavender. This was just from my garden. And really what I wanted to do was just put together a design that was quite straightforward for people. And obviously your materials might be different from mine, but what to do I would say is pick a colour theme or what that works for you, and then just work with the materials that you've got. So straight away we've created quite an interesting base for adding our flowers. But before we add our big flowers or our roses, I want to put just a couple of these across. I think these are really interesting. I can't remember what they're called, but they actually grow on the tree or on the trees up beside the park where I live. And I just think they're really interesting. They're a little bit different. They come off in the autumn and they're really good for drying. They just are already practically dry. And by adding these, this is creating a little bit of a line within our design as well. So we've got a good base. Now we can look at adding our roses, and I just want to put these in. So we want these to look like they're radiating out from the centre of the design, just like you would want if you were using floral foam. Now there's nothing wrong with floral foam, and there's some new versions coming out, which is really, really exciting. But it is a good idea to explore different ways of supporting flowers and making an arrangement or a design that's more sustainable in lots of ways. So you can see these roses are really just giving like a lovely little highlight. And then we can actually start to add our little pieces of kalanchoe. Now, I couldn't get to the wholesalers, so I actually just got the kalanchoe plant in the supermarket. And while I was there, they actually have some stuff reduced. So I got this wonderful hellebore plant, and it was only about £2.50, which is brilliant. Such a great price. So that's going in the garden, but I can use some of the flowers to create a little design that we can use in the house. Now with the hellebores, they're quite easily marked when they're outside. So actually, just taking off the flowers and using them as a cut flower is no bad thing, because ultimately you're getting to enjoy the flowers where you're going to see them on your dining room table, and you've still got the plant for going in the garden. So it is always worth keeping a little eye out for some little bargains that are out there. I do like adding the little leaves as well, but these little flowers are just so sweet. And I want to make sure when I'm placing things that really the flowers are going to touch down into the water and get the water that they need. Now, if you wanted, you could let them sit up a little bit more. I quite like the fact that this is more like a posy style. So it's really making you look into the design so that you really see the details and you see the difference in textures and shapes. So we've got big shapes, small shapes, different textures, and I think that's quite interesting. Now, I'm not a heavily blingy person myself, but it's Christmas and there's never a better time to add a touch of bling than at Christmas. So I'm just going to put in 1 or 2 baubles, because really this turns it from being just a nice winter arrangement into specifically a Christmas arrangement. Now, I don't know if I really want it to look like a bauble. If you want it to look like a bauble, then obviously leave the end. If you want it just to look more like a sphere, then that works really, really well. So we've got a really nice, simple arrangement that's quite straightforward. Now, because we've used this decor wire for doing the ends of the onions, what you can do is you can actually take some and just create a little bit of a highlight that we can put over our design. Now, you might want to, you might not. It depends how blingy you want to go. But I think it does add another layer and another level of interest. And we're just literally laying that on top. Now, this isn't an arrangement that I would want to do in a shop and deliver by using the chicken wire base. I think it wouldn't have the stability to take the transport. But for in the home, that's a good way of doing it. And actually, if you wanted to do it, you could do this with a foam version, and then it would become quite transportable. And there we go. This is our completed design. Now, you wouldn't know that that's just a piece of chicken wire within there, but quite an interesting collection of materials all placed together. Well, hope you've enjoyed today's video. We tried to just do something that was quite simple, that people could do for their own home and really just enjoy for Christmas. So nothing too complicated, and we hope that you really give it a go. Now, we'd like to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everyone for supporting us throughout the year. This has been a challenging year for everyone, and we've really managed to continue to do videos, and we've really appreciated your support in watching them and the feedback that we've had. So I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of Janis and I from Flower Juice to say a very Merry Christmas to everyone and a healthy and happy new year. So let's make 2021 more flowery, more fun, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year with some new designs. So stay safe, everyone, and be happy.